Get ready for the frequency. This is 1Trance podcast, where trance meets you with Reboot Quantum Solar.
Hey everybody, welcome to 1Trance podcast. Today, we are joined by an amazing Albanian-born DJ and producer based in London, UK. Opportunities in Albania were limited in the electronic music scene, so in the late 1990s, he made the bold move to the United Kingdom. There, he then immersed himself in the vibrant UK rave and club scene, particularly drawn to hard house and hard trance. In 2002, he bought his first pair of belt-driven decks and began honing his DJ skills while building a studio setup with synthesizers and drum machines. He has built a dedicated fan base in the trance community through consistent releases on labels such as Positive State, Tidy 2, and Ballistic Records. Recent and notable tracks releases include Legacy with Youssef Kifa, Orbital Circle, Peak with Lab 4, Revenant with Gav, Magnitude, and One Life to Live For, which is an album compilation of his tracks. He hosts and produces the Atomic Trance podcast that has been running for over 18 years as of this year, which features his own mixes, guest mixes, and showcases in trance, hard trance, tech trance, and related genres. He describes himself as a family man who values happiness, positive energy, and staying true to the emotional core of hard trance without chasing trends. His career reflects persistence from immigrant roots and self-taught production to becoming a respected figure in the UK's trance scene, with ongoing releases into this year, 2026. Welcome to the podcast, Nick Van Kukaj. Welcome.
Hey, hello, man. Good evening, and I hope you're doing well. And thanks for having me. And it's an absolute pleasure. And thank you for the long and lengthy introduction. You see, living all these years in England, I'm trying even to pick the English accent. Not as bad as yours. You're American, but we understand each other at least.
Yes, of course. No, it's good, man. It's good. So you moved from Albania to the UK in the late 90s.
That's correct.
First of all, how old are you when you moved, if I may ask?
Well, I was very young. I was 13 years old when I moved to United Kingdom. Yes.
All right. So you moved in the 90s, to chase a music dream because opportunities in Albania when it comes to music were very limited. What was that transition like when it comes to culture and music?
Unreal, man. Just let me talk you a little bit now. Albania is beautiful, but back then, my time, we were transitioning from a very long, lengthy dictatorship of a communist regime, which they ruled Albania from straight after the Second World War all the way to 1991. Albania was a dreadful country. It was just I hope North Korean people will not get offended, but it was just as probably is North Korea, a very isolated country, because our dictator thought he was getting invaded. So it made impossible for people to leave. People were forced. Gladly, I was very young and I don't remember any of these things, but my brothers do. In there, the work was extremely difficult because everyone used to work for the government. So after transition from communist to democratic state, we were free to move. And after my parents made a move to United Kingdom, which was a really great call. And transition here, not gonna lie, beginning was extremely difficult, especially not speaking a single word of English apart from thank you and yes and no. But as a young child, suppose you really adapt very quickly. Of course, I started raving from a very, very young age because in here, UK is a home of dance music. If I may say, lap of it. I mean, if you look at, in general here, rave scene, DJs, history of dance music, or it's just like you watch a Kevin and Perry go large, or have you ever watched All Gone Pete Tong?
Maybe. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I'm not
movie.
Sure.
You gotta watch that because he's about a DJ, Frankie Wild. He lost his hearing because of booze, drugs, alcohol, and things.
Yeah.
and he lost his hearing completely. So he met a girl because he was trying to learn to speak with the hands and all this. So
Yeah.
he went to a nightclub, and the floor was vibrating from dancing. So
Wow.
that's
Yeah.
all he
Yeah.
could feel. So he went home. He bought pair of speakers, pair of studio monitors. He put his
Yeah.
feet. He produced a full studio album from his feet with a deaf man, completely deaf. So he produced a full studio. Yeah. So after this kind of stuff fascinated me very, very, very much. So, and back then here, especially 1997, 98, 99, trance music, it was one of the best. I mean, what I mean in here, the radio station, like Radio 1, we had Kiss 100.
Yeah.
All you could hear. I remember like today going to school, I could hear by a gym, Robert Miles, Children. I used to wait because the people were jogging and training. I just used to wait and have a listen because of the tune. And that was the one which brought me immediately to music.
You know, it's funny you say that because that was actually going to be my next question for you. What was the first UK rave and track that made you think, this is it? This is where I belong?
Yeah, it was honestly, I mean, Robert Miles' Children has played the biggest part of my life because that melodic also, it was Cafe Del Mar, the 3-in-1 Energy 52 track, because it was used in some advertising TV adverts. And when
Yep.
you're watching this, you feel it, and that's what trance, and I'm even telling you now, I'm having goosebumps actually, because it's just
Exactly. Yeah. Your hair starts standing up and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, it goes way, way, way back. And that was it, because I was originally a drummer. And I still got drum sets in my shed.
Yeah.
I've got 5 sets of drums. I've got a Roland. I've got a Yamaha.
Yep.
And I've got some other ones. But I used to, as a kid, I couldn't afford them in Albania. So back in Albania, in the mountains right up north there, used to play on the pots, and I had a couple of barrels. So this barrel, my grandma used to use it because she had some chickens, and what she used to do, she used to fill this with the water, because the chickens could go and drink
Yeah.
water. So I used to flip this over, and that was sort of my kick. So I made everything. I constructed myself, even the pedal foot, and hitting this barrel.
Wow. But I mean, when you have that music passion, doesn't matter how old you are, you're going to find a way to make the sound, no matter what, with pots and pans, with analog instruments, with keyboards, with decks, such as these ones, you're going to find a way to make the sound. Speaking of sound, your sound goes from progressive trance to hard trance to techno. Who were your biggest early influences, as far as artists? I know we already mentioned Robert Miles, Children, but who were your biggest early influences as far as, the sound that you create?
It's iconic. I mean, Paul Oakenfold.
Okay. Yeah.
Paul Oakenfold is an absolute legend, a musical genius. I remember when it was, what was it? Planet Perfecto, Bullet in a Gun released, and it comes Ferry Corsten. So Ferry Corsten released lots of music before becoming actually Ferry Corsten. He used to release music under Moon Man.
Okay.
And on the Moon Man, he released Don't Be Afraid. What a tune. So that was another one, was called, I think, Liberta. So I've got these records somewhere in my collection.
Yeah.
So it was after, what was the he released also the Carte Blanche, the Veracocha.
Yeah. I know that one.
So without knowing who this person is, or but these were kind of I really it was always. And after, of course, 1998 came Binary Finary. It was such a dream, because Paul Van Dyk jumped straight in it, and after For an Angel. So that was after I was slightly bigger as well, so I understood music more, and I actually had access to go to record stores, because here in Britain, in that time, it was loaded Camden. It was one of the best places to go record hunting. And Oxford Street, we used to have Virgin Records, HMV,
Yeah.
and you used to go and try to get records, but was a record store in Birmingham, and that was called Hard to Find Records. And actually, that's where I bought these decks, which I have here. Bought them in 2004. That was in 5th of May 2004. I bought these decks. Very, very expensive. Very expensive.
Wow. But as a matter of fact, the Paul Confold Bullet, the track just came out with a new re-release with Schneider. He just re-released that track with Schneider. Yeah, I played it on one of my mixes. Now, how, because you produce mainly, how has your sound production style changed from those belt driven decks, that you got in 2002 to the analog heavy, because you have a lot of analog stuff in your studio. How has your sound, your production style evolved during those times?
Look, that's why sometimes I even myself, because I am very fanatic of that golden era. I mean, some people say you cannot get stuck in the past. You got to move forward, and you got to be live
But
with
you
the time.
prefer the analog devices, right?
I absolutely do. I mean, I remember working with Lab 4 on Forced and Fire. That was released on 1Trance Europe, and we did that track with I think Novation tracks we used, and we used this machine over here. This is called EMX1, and it actually has tubes. It's an amazing little groove box and synthesizer. So we used that. And Les, Lab 4, of course, Les, he was the person who has inspired me. With Lab 4, they had the biggest studio with the biggest analog synths. We're talking about around 2000, 2002, and was a DJ mag. And also they were in a mix mag. We are black sheeps of hard dance music, and that was their studio. So basically that was the article written about them, were black sheeps of hard dance.
Yeah.
So for me, it was always trying to get into, and from immediately after that article of Lab 4 on Mix Mag, I started collecting synths, because back then the computers were atrocious, were very limited. And,
slow. Yeah.
Slow. So I actually used to have this window, what was it, 90, I believe. Windows 95. So after, when I had some money, I bought another computer, and I was working with Reason. I didn't like the software in that time. Reason, very complicated. So my brother bought me Cubase SX3. Very intuitive, very good software. So 2004, I have this Romanian friend, Marco, lovely guy, great DJ as well. He was a DJ Combinator, goes by a name. Went to his house. He had bought a Mac G.
Yeah. I know. I remember those. Yeah.
He had bought Mac G4, and he had GarageBand installed on this. On this Mac. So started playing just a little bit of scene, and in less than 10 minutes, I was able to construct a beat. Just what was it? So I said to myself, definitely I'm going to go and buy one. So anyway, you couldn't do the research on the internet, because the internet was very, very limited, but only way you visit the shop. So it was funny enough, in here we have in the UK this shop called Cash Converters. So it's a pawn shop, what people go and sell like secondhand stuff and things. So I was popping by, and I saw this synthesizer there in store. So I went to buy the synthesizer, just to check the price. Anyway, the price was good. I bought it. So as I look, I saw this Tower PC with Apple logo. My heart started racing. So anyway, I went to ask the lady, what is this? And she goes, this is Mac G5, a Tower.
Yeah.
So she goes, they retail in shop from 1,000 for £2,000. It was £700. So I didn't have this money. So anyway, I said to her, I had a watch I said, well, can I leave you this watch because I really want to buy this this mug?
Yeah.
And she goes, yeah, let me check the watch. How much it's worth? She did check the watch. It was over that what she's asking. So I gave my watch for that, got the mug. I never went to see her back because I didn't pick my watch back. I just kept the computer.
You got the Mac.
Yeah,
That's
I got
all
the
that
Mac,
matters.
and I bought Logic. So Logic came in 5. Oh, no, it was 7 discs. They sent along from Apple. Took me 2 days to install it, and believe it or not, never looked back to this day because that it opened the door. And for me as a producer, I learned so much and developed because what Logic had, it had loads of stuff which was so good. It even didn't need this gear. And the truth is, this equipment, what I have, I don't buy because I really need it. I buy because I love it.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, because you know, with just a basic computer now, I mean, it's no more basic. They are really advanced and powerful. But imagine back then how limited we were, and they come equipped with lots of software which allows you to make music. So from that mark, started writing lots of tracks, but I didn't believe they were good enough to send to labels.
Oh, I see. Yeah. No, I mean, you did good. I mean, everybody starts somewhere, and you actually went the way of buying the equipment yourself, sacrificing the watch, as you mentioned, and then, learning about your production. Tracks like Orbital Circle or Legacy have that driving emotional energy. When you build a track, what do you look for? Do you look for the melody first? Do you look for the rhythm, the atmosphere?
Yeah.
How's your process?
It's I have one cousin. He's called Dritan, and he's very cheeky. When I was a kid, when I used to play drums, I used to play with my mouth. So basically, it's even now, I actually make music with my mouth. So it's like what I'm doing with my mouth, then I do it with my fingers in a keyboard.
So you try to do repeated, yes.
Yes. If somebody was going to see me in the street or something doing this thing, you probably would think this man is a cuckoo in the head, which I am probably. And yeah, I always tend to start with melodic stuff because once you got the rhythm going and actually you know where the track is going. Because, kick, bass, percussion, these are very, very basic elements, and it's not necessary you can create them from scratch because you always have millions of samples which you can use them. But melodies, Orbital Circle, that is very much is a hard trance track, 143 BPM.
Mm-hmm.
Is based on German and Swiss trance. I absolutely love German sounds and German sort of the hot techno.
And I have to say that the Germans, I mean, I can only speak for this area that I'm in, but they do prefer the hardest sound of trance and techno. They do. I mean, there's a club downtown here in Stuttgart where I've actually gone and see some really famous DJs come and play. I mean, Cosmic Play,
Gate.
Cosmic, my God, brain fart. Anyway, Marcus Schultz, Under Royale, Cosmic Gate, all those people I've gone downtown, but the majority of the time the Germans love that hardest sound, and that's what the club plays. So what's one production technique that, you started with, but has changed over time and actually to make the sound that you have today?
Now, with the years learning the music before.
And you learn it all yourself, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Over the years, I learned because before I used to start one project and work a few hours, maybe a day. And after, when I come next day, start a new one after never finish one. So my advice for anyone starting our current producers, what I do when I start a track, I'm not looking to start a different track until this. And my dad used to say, don't leave today's job for tomorrow. You got to finish it today. So when I have the idea flowing, I absolutely don't move, even don't go to toilet if I need to, because if I have that momentum with me, I want to keep it and I just want to whack in as much as possible. And what I do, this is a little skill I learned before from working with Les Lab 4. I'm working with other producers. Everyone have their own techniques of working, but when you work with some big producers like Les Lab 4 was traveled the world, sold 400, produced 11 studio albums and sold 436 singles and traveled worldwide, you know.
Yeah.
I do like a fully skeleton of the track. So I get the track, everything in from bar 1 to bar 256 if I'm going to 7 minutes track
Yeah.
and things. And after I lay that down, then I go in the middle. I take each section where I want my break and everything. So after I have a structure. Once you have a structure, it's just like building a foundation. So you
Yes,
cannot
of
start
course.
building a house if you don't have your foundation first. So, and after I don't lose my momentum because you can just work what you have. Years ago, I did a course just to learn a bit more, to
Yeah.
learn how it was very expensive. At the beginning, I regretted. I thought it was a mistake. But after I saw the benefits of that, because after finishing that course, when I came home, 3 days later, I was able to finish my first track.
Okay.
Because I learned so much trick. Because we was in that course, that was in London, and it was called School of Sound.
Okay.
It was run by an Italian guy, and they had amazing tutors, amazing people in there. So he gave us a challenge. So he said to us, I never knew before back then. So he goes, take one of your favorite track, lay it down on top of your project. So see the waves of this track. Try if you can recreate this.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Okay.
so he goes, he's listening. He goes, am I allowed to put this in a loudspeaker for everyone to hear it?
Wow.
So I said to him, yeah, go ahead. So he played to everyone. He asked these guys, does anyone know this kind of sound? Most of these guys were drum and bass, doing different genres. And one of these guys, he was called Roland. And he goes, that sounds very like a Marco V sound. So he didn't know this. I was just aiming for that sound. And he goes, it's not Marco V, that's Nick. Nick, he done this today. So it was a turning point for me, because after, until 2018, 2019, I actually used to use a reference track.
Okay. Yep.
And lay down my music. But after I developed my skills, where I know from which bar, for instance, like intro, and after giving a full blast and going towards the break, and after bringing again the build up and dropping the main drop and then going towards the outro, and I did learn this, but at the beginning, this is how I used to work.
So you don't need that track to guide you anymore. You can actually just do your own track. You don't need the guidance anymore.
Absolutely. I mean, working with Legacy with Yosif. This is
the record.
Yeah. So working on this, one was Yosif came to London. It was, I think, not last year. It was a year before. He visited us in London from Malaysia. So we had a good time, went out a couple of times in London. And so he goes, I want to come to see Aladdin's Cave. And I said, okay. So he came over here. So he was just going on the keyboard, playing a couple of chords. We recorded some stuff. I said to him, okay. So it was last year, February. So I took seriously that collaboration. I thought, okay, I'm going to work on it. So I worked fairly bit. I sent to Yosif. He goes, he loved my melodies. He loved my structure, but he goes, I'm going to add some more elements to it. And I said to him, feel free. I mean, this is the collaboration. And
yes, of course.
Yeah. So we took us, I must admit, about 3 months we were working on this track, because we was going back and forth. We liked something, we disliked something. And we wanted, as Yosif said, we wanted to build something to last forever, legacy. So Yosif got the name, and Yosif got the vocals for it. He was, I'm not too sure from which, where he got these vocals. I remember he sent me a YouTube link or something, and I loved the idea. And after we sent this to Tidy and it got signed, it was really a great achievement, because Tidy label, believe it or not, I have around, 35,000 records. Vinyls.
Wow, that's a lot of records.
Yeah, so collecting them since 1995.
Wow, that's a lot of records. I'm
Yes.
sure that there's some really good ones in there.
Yeah, some
Speaking of old records, you have remixed classics such as Cherry Blossom and Your Loving Arms.
Yes.
What draws you to want to rework an older track? What kind of inspires you to do that?
Reboot, man. I did also Lambada remix. Let me tell you this. I'm going to tell you about Lambada. Is on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. It has around 48,000.
Yeah, I got to go look it up after this. Yeah.
2012, had a gig in Poland. My wife, she's from Poland, so she got me a gig in Poland.
Cool.
So this place holds capacity of 30 people. Very, very small.
Okay.
So went there. So first time in my life seen CDJ 2000.
Okay.
Because it was the first batch of CDJ 2000s which came out. Now, I had taken my music on the USB because the guy told me what equipment he had.
Yeah.
When I went there back then, the USBs didn't work. So I'm like scratching my head. I had the laptop with me. So in order for me, after, that's when I learned you have to format your USBs to fast.
Correct, yes. I work in IT. That's my job. I work in IT, and yes, you do have to do FAT32.
So anyway, now, in order, my laptop had a very small gigabytes of hard drive, so I wasn't able to copy my things, and I had to delete everything and do this long process. So I looked at my bag. I had 2 CDs, and I started playing. Instead of I supposed to play some different things, I ended up playing sort of hard dance.
Hey, but you're improvised. You know, you were you had an issue, and then you're like, okay, I can do this. So hey, it worked.
So what happens? This young lad comes up to me. Hey man, I've got a special track in this CD. Can you play? I never in my life have taken a request or taken a CD.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, man, can I have it? So he gives me this CD. When I put in, he had 30 tracks MP3 on it. He saved my night, man. Honest to God, this is true story. It's not made up. So when I said to him, what track do you want me to play? And he goes, is Eurythmics Sweet Dreams.
Okay.
So, bit odd, isn't it? I mean, you're playing like hard trance, hard dance, and after you ended up going. But I'm like, I look at the dance floor, is this grandpa and grandma in the dance floor dancing? They must have been over 70s. So I played Eurythmics. So the old couple asked me if I had lambada. And I did have lambada, so I played for them. So they were celebrating their 55th anniversary of wedding. So to keep them in the dance floor, I had to play second time. So kept them in the dance floor. So I saw how much. And after, it was like, I said, I got to remix lambada because it really, just because of memories. Then Cherry Blossom, Marcel Woods, one of my favorite, probably tech trance, hard trance producers. He did produce several tracks back in the day, and was one track in techno was called Everything, a little vocal, and Advanced of Marcel Woods. That was out of this world. I still play it sometimes in my sets. So Cherry Blossom, I was in Wild Child Festival, London Bridge in London here, 2005. And I was playing in that lineup, 88 DJs.
Wow.
So now Marcel Woods is taking after me because I'm warming up. And first track he played, it was Cherry Blossom. And that melodic, when it hit, I could see all the dance floor like this, you know, and when the guitars came in, you know, it's just like, I was like, I couldn't get off my mind, you know, it immediately warned me. He's playing. Anyway, in the end, I went to Marcel and I said to him, what was that track you played? He goes, which one? I said to him, the first one. He goes, oh, this is my latest release, Cherry Blossom. Do you want a copy? I was like, Jesus, would love one. He goes, this is the press test pressing. So he goes, you can have this one. So I wanted him to sign, but we had no pen because you needed a marker or something. I got it. So Ben Gold did a remix of this. You know Ben Gold?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, Ben Gold did a remix, and that was released in the High Contrast recordings. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, must have been 2011. So I thought, okay, it's been some years since Cherry Blossom is remixed, and I will give it a go and make it much more of myself, of a hard trance. So took it to 142 BPM. And I actually took the middle part, where is the breakdown and the guitars. That's from the original record. It's not recreated. I used the original part of the track. Then Karen Overton, You Love in Arms. I'm not fan of vocal trance. I don't really like vocal trance at all. But Karen Overton, You Love in Arms, she had that angel's voice and lyrics. It's just like when you listen Space Brothers, Shine, or when you listen, what was it, Zoe Johnston with Above and Beyond, No One on Earth, and Gabrielle and Dresden remix. These ladies, they were beautiful angels. They had angel's voice. They sang beautiful back then. So Karen Overton was always on my list, because I remember I was in a rave, a global gathering, Stratford upon Avon, I think it was, Warwick somewhere, and someone did a bootleg of Your Love in Arms. It sounded so cool, but that was 20 years ago, and actually I was looking to see if that remix is somewhere online, and I never found it, so I thought, okay, I'll give it a go. And recently I have remixed a good one.
Okay.
Robert Miles, Children.
Wow. Hey, guys, you heard it here first. Nick did a remix of a major classic with
And
Robert Miles.
Emmanuel
tracks.
Reboot, you will have this, sir. I'll forward it to you. So
Thank
this
you
is
so
not
much.
to be shared, but you'll have it.
Thank you.
You're going to be the first person to play it out before me.
World premiere. Thanks so much. So,
Yeah.
speaking of the trance scene, so as you know, the trance scene goes through waves of, it's big and it's low and high, low. What excites you the most about the way that trance is, and hard trance, not just trance? I know you like hard trance. What excites you the most about the current state of trance and hard trance this year? All these recent years.
I think hard trance community, rave community in general, I hate we are all one. I think,
of course,
trance is a genre which unites people, happiness. And in my entire life, for all these years, I've been raving, all these people I've met, just a lovely people. It's a wonderful place to be. And trance has those happy elements of life, which, how can I put it?
I mean, to me is the feelings and the goosebumps. I mean, you get the goosebumps and your hair starts standing up.
Exactly.
I mean, it's
exactly. And I actually have produced tons of tracks in sort of techno, minimal, progressive. And progressive kills me more than actual hard trance. And I have never played a progressive sets, because I always, for some reason, get booking for hard trance and harder stuff. But in my studio album, first disc, I should say, 11 tracks are fully progressive and minimal. It's nothing major. Second CD is a full blast, because second disc is all hard trance, tech trance, uplifting trance. And producing the album, it was a tough time for me. It really was. This album, it means more than people actually know, because during that time, my eldest child, she was ill. She was extremely ill, and she was in hospitals. Most of it was produced in a little laptop by hospital bedsides. So some of the tracks, I remember, she was getting medication through her tubes, which they put in, and I was doing something just to distract her and myself as well, my mind.
of course.
And it was really unbelievable, because when you're through pain or tough times, trance comes to rescue you.
You know, they actually say, if I may interrupt you here, they actually say that uplifting trance, 138, 140, 142 actually has healing properties because the frequency and the beat it actually has healing properties. I mean, I've seen this online. I've seen people have told me this before, and
It's true.
regardless if it's true or not, I actually truly believe that as well.
Yeah,
I do.
because you see, I believe so because it's some frequency notes in which uplifting trance mostly is made on F major and F sharp notes, and that sort of F notes, F scale, resonates with heart very much so. So
And I have to say, I used to play progressive on my sets, and I actually stopped playing the progressive and went straight to uplifting just because I love the way he makes me feel. I mean, I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with progressive trance or hard trance or anything like that at all. But me personally, I just feel the uplifting just uplifts you. Like a better description. It just does things for you. Yeah,
yeah, legit.
correct. Speaking of uplifting trance and hard trance, where do you see those sitting in the global dance scene? Is it growing? Do you see a trend where trance in general, or uplifting, or hard, or progressive, is it between all kinds of music genres? Is it growing again across the world?
Absolutely. I mean, trance, you see now, even a godfather, DJ Tiesto, has made a comeback.
Yes,
because
I saw that. Yeah, yes, of course.
he saw the scene, the other side, EDM scene is dying out. It really is. At the moment, hard techno is storming. I am not very much fan of hard techno because for me, that music doesn't have a feeling. It's just like you're like boo, boo, boo. Makes no sense. I mean, as a drummer myself, I used to get bored of myself playing drums,
Of course, yeah.
because, and trance, it has been here for so long and will continue to be. I mean, sound changes, it might shift either way, but the truth is just like we discussed few moments ago, is a happy music, that happy vibes, and the people. I mean, they will never leave the scene.
No, I don't think it'll ever go away either. I think trance, like you said, people say, and this is what something that I do. Like a lot of DJs, maybe even you will start at a lower BPM and then build up. I don't do that. I go 138, and sometimes what I'll do is I'll put a little bit of harder stuff in between the uplifting stuff to kind of break the monotony. But yeah, so I do agree with you. I think trance is not going anywhere. I think it's here to stay. When it comes to young producers coming to the scene, what challenge do you think they face today to get you started? Like there's so much stuff going on. There's streaming, there's social media, there's AI stuff. What do you think their challenges are now for somebody that's coming in to produce?
Honestly, I just want to make this point, and I just want to tell anyone, if they come into the scene to produce music and have fun, is one of the most beautiful scene, is amazing to be in, is good for your brain, good for your health. If you come in here with that mind, you're going to become rich, you're going to become famous, you're in the wrong place, because this is not a music to make money, not music for some. Is a very handful of people who actually make tons of money from this, but most, even producers, because even sadly the sales are the things. I mean, some of these records, they disappear within a days once they're released. My advice to anyone starting out now, sadly, the music, you're not just anymore a producer, you have to be a content creator, you have to do so many things. And as I would say, and I would just give this what I personally do. I am in social pages, but I'm not in groups. I don't really have group chats where tons of people, because that takes my time. I also don't read other people comments and replays and stuff what they go on social media, because that distracts me.
I get it. Yeah, I understand.
My advice and my personal thought to this now, AI taking over, however, trance music will never, you hear some tunes, you might hear little elements, but no way at current time, probably even in 4 or 5 years time, it will not be able to replace humans, because you could tell. Sometimes I'm listening to a track, I could hear the weakness of the track immediately, the bass, the kick, the structure of the track, when someone is playing, even in some radio shows I don't want to name here because
Yeah, of course.
yeah, I was hearing a podcast, is this guy I follow, and it was 4 tracks in a row, completely AI. And I'm thinking, why would you bring such a track in your show?
So I've noticed that when it comes to AI, and I've talked to people about this, if you want to use AI for the vocals, there, to at least get the idea, like you can use AI to get the idea and says, hey, this is what I want the vocals. Let me go find somebody to sing them for me. But you can create the vocals on AI and tell a singer, say, hey, can you sound like this? Now, the other thing that I also heard is that sometimes people use AI, female or male voice in AI, but they write their own lyrics. And then the AI sign, it's not like they're typing, hey, create a track with the love song lyrics. No, they actually write their own lyrics and then AI sings the lyrics. Sometimes that happens. But me personally, when I hear a track, I can tell with the first 10 seconds or so that is an AI track. I don't need to listen to the lyrics. I don't need to listen to, there's certain sounds that all these AI tracks have that are very similar. And you know this. They're very similar to each other. So as soon as I hear that track, I'm like, this is AI. And, if it's a good track, that shows emotion, maybe I'll play, maybe I won't. But I try to play the ones that are actually, real tracks. But yeah, I agree with you. As strong as AI is when it comes to music, I don't think we'll ever catch up. We'll ever replace.
No. And look, I mean, is so many great young producers in trance scene at the moment, and there's great people which are flowing. And these people, for me, even in my Atomic Trance show, I try to play as many tracks as possible from these people. I'm not a glory hunter, and I'm not going to, but these people, I hear tracks. Sometimes I get sent even for feedback. I don't ignore people. I'm just listening. And when it's a good tune, the trance is a very, very specific. It's one right in trance music. I mean, it gotta be thoughtful. You gotta be able writing that to be like a hoover, if you know what I mean, to suck the crowd when like melodic drop or when a drop,
Exactly.
you for me, I'm always, as I call it, some stuff, the payoff moment. The payoff.
Correct.
I did a remix for Positive State 100th release, Moby D Tribe.
Yep.
He
I've played some of those.
Yeah, he did release this track. I think it was last year or a year before. I don't remember. When I heard it, he sent to me. Phil runs the Positive State. He's the governor. Is a good friend of mine. So I said to him, I will remix this track. So he sent me the stems. He sent me the. So anyway, I went to reconstruct and I sent to him, and he was like, yes, he loved it. So because the melodies and the track when it goes, and it was the vocal, and that vocal actually was generated from AI, but it's just a vocal, tiny little vocal. And we've been using.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. You can use it as a tool like that. Yes.
Yeah, Michael Korg has built in the vocoder. I mean, basically that's sort of AI really, because you could use it. You can use your own voice and you just transform it. Now, we used to have years ago this program was called speech synthesizer. So you type your words. And I actually used, you remember the Professor Stephen Hawking, which they had developed a device for him because he was the guy in the
Yes,
wheelchair.
of course. Yes, of course. Yeah, I remember that. So, I remember him. Yeah.
So they had developed a special software for him because he would type.
And you would speak,
type on that machine, speak. So and this was called Speechify. So I have used this. It's a free program to use. And you just type your words, what you want, and you can use even his voice, bless his soul, and other people, actors and things, to say the words you want to say. And there's nothing wrong using for a specific thing. However, for me, going to make a track with AI, no way.
Correct. Okay. So, and I agree. I completely agree with you. It's happening, but there's a lot of people, as you know, that have come out, producers, record labels, they've come out and says, good on you for using AI, but we don't like that. For you, when it comes to your growing, in the industry, what was the moment that you felt like things started to click for you as a producer? What was that moment that you're like, okay, this is getting in line and it's going to click?
Yeah, I had years from around 2002 till 2007. I was DJing regularly every single day. That was my full-time job. I must admit, it drained me.
I imagine.
Yeah, it really did. I met my wife, so fell in love, and music started to die.
Okay.
It really did. Yeah, from 2000 down, went down slightly. Nightclubs started to shut down. The music shifted from physical to all digital with the invention of Beatport and everything. So we got married. I had my first child. Then second child came along. So I said to my wife, I'm going to sell all my records and my equipment.
Wow.
And I said to her, I had lost my mojo.
Yep.
To make music or anything. And she goes, don't be stupid. She goes, these things, they're going to worth hell of a lot of money. We can't sell this stuff. So I was like, okay. Anyway, she got me a gig.
Okay. Yeah.
So she got me a gig in Poland. It was.
Yeah. You mentioned, yeah.
Yeah. After, straight from that Poland, she got me another gig and I played in Birmingham.
Okay.
Sorry, Coventry. And this is hilarious. So promoters, sometimes they are silly. They make mistake. And that's fine. What they did, they had these two guys, very famous Polish DJs. I think they play sort of commercial deep house and stuff.
Yeah.
So instead of putting them from 12 till 2, they put them from 10 o'clock till 12 o'clock. Now I'm taking over from 12 o'clock till 2.
Wow.
Straight after them. So perfect warm-up. I went to a club. They played this sort of deep house commercial stuff. So I said to my wife, now I have to flip my set. And she goes, why? I said, now I'm going to go proper hard trance in here,
Yeah, so
because
they had the warm-up and then you went hard.
Yeah, so basically because I could see people just like, no moving. I went, first track was Marcel Woods, everything. I could see the dance floor lit, man. It was just like a igniting, like boom. I could see all the people like jump. I built this set because I started like 140 was, and after I ended up being to 150 BPM, I'm right up. It was electric atmosphere. So after that, my wife, she goes, we had 2 children anyway. She goes, you see, man, you still got the buzz and you know what you're doing. She goes, you were wrong to say you're going to give up this. And I said to her, I know, but I genuinely lost it. So I started writing music again after these events, working for some other people. I wasn't releasing on my own, but working for some other people, doing for some other people was a little bit extra cash for me, paying. And after 2020, COVID came along. So this was another nightmare because people started streaming. So because people were home, but this, for me, I started making music during this time. I was making anyway, but I wasn't doing live streams or doing anything. I was just writing music. So a good friend of mine, Liam, is a co-owner of, founder of Positive State.
Yep.
He gets on my inbox. He goes, Nick, we're launching a brand new record label. We want you to be in our label. I was like, no. I said, well, I'm not going to release music. He goes, listen, mate, deadline is May to submit your track. We want your track. Produce track, Sunrise, is somewhere in the wall over there.
Yeah.
Massive tune. Did Sunrise, sent to Phil and Liam and Jason. They're all three listen. And they come back to me. They said to me, it's too techno. Can you change it a bit? So Phil goes, I want a rolling bass line and everything. I said to him, I'll do. So went in the studio. I ended up changing so many things because after it clicked. Do you understand? Like, okay, this is the track. Well, so I sent to him. When I sent to him, he was like, oh, it was a right call. This is a beast. And Sunrise was released in July 2022. This track opened a wide gate for me after, because I got so much recognition for it, and the track received massive support from so many DJs in Australia, in Germany. Actually, even in Apple Music was #1 in Chile.
Wow. So was that track like your even though you're doing music for other people, was that track the first one that you released in your name that kind of
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So you mentioned something that's very important. This actually goes along with the next question. So you made this amazing track. You sent it to the label. They told you to change. You made it even better. They loved it. How important has DJ support been to your growth and to your tracks? And how did you first start getting your tracks noticed? Maybe this one was the case.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, as a music producer, you don't want to give your art too easy to people. For me, I never send my work for feedback to anyone, even to people who I know, or I have loads of famous DJs and producers. When I send a track to you, I send it to you to play it, not to, if you like it, you like it, not for feedback. But promos, certain labels, they have a really good promo network, which track gets distributed well. Some labels, unfortunately, they don't distribute the tracks well to other people, and is very important. Now, I have links to so many DJs, great DJs, emails and contacts, and when I produce something, always forward it to everyone.
Got
and now
you.
you'll be...
So you're saying that DJ support is important because you want to make a track that DJs like and the track that DJs want to play. That way they play, you get the recognition for your hard work.
Yeah, look, I mean, now is two things. Music, when you, for me, I make music because I love.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. When
passion.
I send the track to people, I always I hope, okay, it's gonna be well received by people, because sometimes, bear in mind, is I don't know, 700,000 tracks on a weekly basis. They come on a Beatport.
Yes,
And
correct.
not every track gonna do well. And not every track gonna be picked up, and not every DJ gonna be able to play, because some DJs. But there is always, it's gotta be that track, one track, as a producer, which gonna hook. Now, so many times my own production, I have tons of tracks. I get so bored listening when I make them. But if you ask me, I did a remix of James Pound, "Take Me Back."
Okay.
And when James sent me this track, I listened. I loved his work. I said to James, "Can I remix it?" So he goes, "Really?" I said to him, "Yeah." I love the melodies. So "Take Me Back," if you ask me, every DJ set I've played for the last 4 years, I've been playing in every one of them. It has become an anthem. And sometimes if it's one of your tracks, which actually hooks you and gets you there, and same as Sunrise, because Sunrise was the track which did so well, it did connect with the people. It was not probably well produced, but it had that element, or same legacy with Yusuf. Legacy has that kind of touching moments which actually hooks people. How many TikToks videos I have seen and shorts on the YouTube and things. It makes your day because you see the track is being received very, very well. And
correct,
now, years ago, it was getting that message out through cassette tapes, passing over to promoters, to DJs. And now we have internet, Facebook, we have loads of things. I mean, but if we don't distribute our demos to DJs like yourself and people who actually hear this music, unfortunately, music gets lost, because in a Beatport, 90% of people I know, even my friends, they are not musicians, they are not DJs. They love music, but they are not people who go and sign up to Beatport and things. And when the DJs play these tracks and things, now people use iTunes, they buy the music from it. And I've seen people lots of time. And demo distribution is one of the biggest promotion for any DJ or any producer. Have your people where you can send your promos.
Of course. That's very important. As I mentioned in the beginning, you're a family man, as well as a producer, DJ. So as a family man, how do you balance studio time, DJing, and family life? Especially, with a wife and two kids, yes.
I have
how
three.
How do you balance all of that?
I have 3 kids.
Okay, yeah.
Look, my 2 eldest one, they pretty much grown up, really. 14 and 16. And a little one is 8. But my wife, she's always on my backbone. She's a very, very strong woman. And believe it or not, she is a great human being because she has supported my stupid ideas. And sometimes I go in the morning to raves and I come next day, and she's never a woman which we have a very good relationship, good trust.
Of course, that's important.
And she has supported me because I don't think so it would have been possible to do all this what I do. And sometimes I make joke when I buy equipment and things, because I have some friends, they buy equipment and they cannot show them wives and them. But for me, I pay all my bills. I honor everything, my children, my wife, my everything. They have what they should have, and whatever we can spend, we can spend. And
yeah, so she's been a blessing to you, of course.
Yeah, and that, I mean, is because sometimes having a bad relationship, it affects you. You can't make music. You can't do what you're supposed to do. Honestly, and for me, because she allows me, she was never like a person, oh, you can't stop. And I remember when we had our first child, I did stop music for a while, and people was thinking, oh, now I'm never going to be able because probably my wife don't let me. But because I stopped going out as well, going out to raves, and this came to my mind. Connection is a very, very important.
Yes, correct.
Connections, and anyone who has opportunity to go out, I wouldn't say every week, but I mean, it's very, very important to link with people, other producers, other DJs. And in every rave I've been, I have met someone, honestly.
Yeah.
In every rave I've been, I have met someone. 2022, rock from Switzerland, Claudio, an absolute legend. So one of the leading hard trance legend in the world, I would say. We were a Ministry of Sound. I had no clue who Shock is. Anyway, a few friends having a chat with him and a picture, and I asked him, who are you, man? And he goes, oh, I'm Claudio from Shock. So I was like, Jesus. Oh, so we had a good chat, and we connected after. We played together in a few events. I remember meeting Giuseppe Ottaviani. We actually played in Fabric 2 times. I met Giuseppe, and we played in the same room with Giuseppe, Andrea Ribisa.
Nice.
Stone Face and Terminal.
Yeah.
Fred Baker, Scott Project.
Yeah. It's just like, so I've had similar experiences. I went to Transmission in Prague, and somehow I got involved with a Facebook chat for Transmission, and they're like, hey, meet up in this plaza in Prague in front of this thing so we can do a picture, and so people from different country had their flags are out there, and I'm standing like this, and I look next to me, and Craig Connolly was right there next to me. And I was like, oh, hey, Craig. So I met Craig. I met Doxson. I met some other the guys that do Neil Six. Those 2 guys. So I met a bunch of people, and I ended up just talking to them, just like normal people. And then last year I went to ADE in Amsterdam, and I ended up meeting Darren Porter, Alex Morph, some other people like that, which was very, very cool. So I love going to those things and meeting these people. Now, you mentioned you have 3 children. So as fatherhood, or any personal experience influenced you in any specific tracks, or how you do your music as your family influenced you in any way?
Look, in home, my studio is based in home.
Yes, of course.
My little daughter Victoria, she is a trance lover. She's a
Good taste. Good taste.
yeah, she is a raver. And my other two, they don't like music, but when they were little, I used to keep them in my hands and I used to play music, and they used to fall asleep.
Yeah.
Because even though not playing loud, because you could drive them deaf for a little kid, but playing on and as a father, I think it's great, because having children, they see what the parents do, and having that artistry in home, actually it makes them better as well.
I believe so too as well. Correct.
It's it helps them. So now my second daughter, she plays football, and she's a Man United diehard, and because of her, I have to go sometimes, even if I'm busy, but I also dedicate time to them. So when they need me, I'm always for them here. Now,
Of course.
thanks God for that. They are very big. They pretty much independent, and they can do a lot of things. But with them, a relationship with the children is very important, especially when they are little. When they are very little, you gotta be, as a father. I mean, my dad used to tell me, anyone can be a father, but you gotta be a dad to your children.
And that is very, very true. Very true. True words.
And yes, so he used to tell me, you can't make them and don't look after them. So you gotta look after your children. You gotta be dad to them. And sometimes it's like, now they get annoying because they want to watch something and I don't like what they watching. It's a wonderful, but it's with them now. They're in that stages where they don't need me
As
that much, and I have very much freedom. When they were little, I was constantly with them. I really didn't make much music because my time was dedicated to them.
Of course. That's the way it's supposed to be. Yeah.
When I was young, I always wanted to have children young, because now I'm on my early 40s and my children are big. I'm not going to worry really about, because if you leave too late, if you leave it too late, unfortunately, it's not really good for the children. It's not good for us as well, because our age, when I see now myself, I cannot imagine see myself waking up 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning and feeding them and giving them, changing the nappy and things. I can't do these things. And this is a good advice.
That's what I did too. I had my children when I was young, so that way I would be young with them as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly. So you can keep up with them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mentioned earlier that you have a show called Atomic Trance.
Yes.
That you've been running it for over 18 years or so.
I have.
What keeps you motivated to keep going? Because you're always doing that episode. What keeps you going? How do you pick the tracks for your mixes for this?
Show, I don't do it frequently or weekly. I do it in 1 month, sometimes even in 2 months. I always get music from people, or sometimes actually if I pick something from a beat board which I really like, and I will always throw. And with Atomic Trance, originally started as a podcast early. That was in 2000 and must have been 2008. It was when I first started my first episode, and it was trance progressive. Always I used to do with it, but because of that, music started becoming EDM and music was killed completely. So I thought, okay, for me it was the best time to start this Atomic Trance and play proper trance on the show. But downside was, because I used to make every episode, and you couldn't leave it for longer because the space I had 500. So in order to upload the second episode or third episode, I had to delete the first episode and continue, which was...
my God. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, space was very, very limited. Now, for this, I use SoundCloud. And SoundCloud is an amazing platform, gives tons of space, unlimited really, as much as, and all the episodes stay in there. And I collect music, and I get guests as well. I had lots of guests. I had Jason Naughty, I had Alex Mo, I had Lab 4, I had Shaq's outstanding mix, I had Souli from Finland. I had quite a few people. I
Nice.
had, what's his name? Oh my God. Darren. Darren did a couple of shows for me, and it's just unbelievable. I've had loads of, I had some more. I just can't get the name. So because
I mean,
it's
you've been
going
doing
for-
this. You've been doing this for 18 years or so. I mean, I can only imagine, the guests that you've had. I mean, this is amazing.
Yeah,
This is
and
absolutely amazing.
we used to do also a talk show where we absolutely play not even a single track, just like we have in chat talk, anything, because I had free zone in there. You could swear. We never used to because we wanted to keep friendly for the children.
Of course. So we always end the episode what we call a rapid fire round. So I'm going to ask you one question, and it's one answer. The
Love it.
first thing that comes to your mind, one answer. All right, ready for this? So
Yes, go ahead.
This is the quick fire round.
all right, let's go. Favorite BPM?
142.
Okay. The 1Trance track that changed your life.
1Trance track was changed my life.
Correct.
It's got to be KU and Albert. KU and Albert, what was it? My wife loves that track. Is about love, and that track is unbelievable. It's just my
And they're
mind has
good.
got.
I know Caillou and Albert. They're good. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Are You Fine? That is the title. It's just Are You Fine? Are You Fine? And
Yeah.
that track has changed my life.
So what's the one piece of studio gear that you have there that you could not live without it right now?
Access Virus.
Okay. Hard trance, uplifting, or text trance. Which one fires you the most on the dance floor?
Or trance.
Okay. Albania or UK? Which place has the better energy for making music? Currently, of course.
Always UK.
Okay. And if you could play one dream venue or a festival set right now, where would that be?
Birmingham, God's Kitchen, Air Club. That is one of the most beautiful club I've ever DJ'd in my life. God's Kitchen. So,
Yep.
I'm not too sure if that club exists, but Air Club, if I could go back, 100% that would be Air.
Of course. Now, looking ahead, are there any dream collaborations, any sub-genres that you like to explore, or any big goals for your career for the future?
I've got a massive collaboration, drops out on 3rd of July, and that Black Hole Recordings at 1Trance Europe.
Okay, nice.
Massive collaboration with an absolute iconic guy,
Okay.
and a legend. I can't share yet because
No worries.
Yeah,
I'll keep an eye out for that.
yeah. I'll
But
send you
no
the
worries.
track. I'll send you the track. So, and I'll tell you after who he is. So we talked a little bit about him in the show before, but yeah. So
Okay.
I've got that track, and I'm currently working on a movie and score movie and a Keeper of Souls, a movie. I'm honored to have done entire soundtrack for this movie. So fingers crossed it gets picked up, because this was a budget zero movie with a good friend of mine from
Nice.
Latvia. He has done all the work and a great story behind the movie. So I've done all this soundtrack, and
Nice. Hey, you can be the future Hans Zimmer, you never know.
that would be a dream come true. I mean, Vangelis or Hans Zimmer, or what was his name? Another Jean-Michel Jarre.
Yes,
These
yes.
people, they have revolutionized electronic music, because these guys basically, they said, hey, you don't need 7-man orchestra, you need one synthesizer and you can make it.
Of course. Any ideas for a new album, or maybe even like you decide to launch a label, or or anything like that?
I've got a personal label which I use, Atomic Trance Beats. I've got my own label.
Okay.
That's studio album there is in the making, and I'm currently working. I've got another 11 tracks to come.
Wow,
This
nice.
is a called Happy Life. Okay, so this is
So you heard it here first, people. You heard it here first. He's working on another album. Yes, let's go.
So this is part 2 of One Life to Live For. So it's called Happy Life, 11 tracks, and honestly can't wait to share, because I'm gonna start premiering from this year in November, because that will be the second year of anniversary of my first studio album. So that's when I'm gonna start premiering tracks from the
second
Happy
one, yeah.
Life. So yeah.
And any final words?
Man, thank you, and it's been such an honor and privilege to be.
Oh, the honor's all mine. I mean, you are an absolute legend, and so the honor's all mine, man.
So are you. And I mean, my message is to all: keep loving each other, keep supporting each other, keep supporting other people, because we all can live a happy life harmonically and support each other, because the music is only what brings us together, because we don't want, and at the moment I all would say we want peace and love, because what's going on around the world, honestly, is terrifying. And you are as forces men, and especially from Air Force, and we know what we want peace. So
of course, always. But Nick, thank you so much for being on a podcast. Like I said, it was an amazing interview. It was an honor. You mentioned earlier that you're not very big on the social, that you have some social. So please tell the viewers where they can find you, some of your socials, and more importantly, where they can find your music.
My music is in every platform, whatever exists there: Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, podcasts, Amazon, Deezer, Tidal, everywhere, SoundCloud, even Mixcloud, few mixes. And social media, I am very, very active on Facebook. For some reason, I've got some 5,000 people in there, and
that's good.
I unfortunately, Instagram, even my daughter had to show me another day how to upload stuff, because usually when I upload something from Facebook, goes to the Instagram, because I didn't know. And after, she was laughing, and I said to her, honest to God, because they were linked together always. But yeah, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and I've got a TikTok as well, but I post here and then. But
TikTok is actually, if I may say, because I have about 5,500 people so on TikTok, it's actually very good for exposure of music and things like that. So here's an idea for you. Maybe you start posting more stuff on TikTok as well. It's very, very good to explore music.
Thank you, man. I might do that. I mean, I've got around 3,000 followers on that TikTok.
Yes,
but I haven't paid much attention to it, because
that's good. That's good.
Social media.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, social media drains my energy, because trying to make music, trying to make content for the TikTok or for Facebook and these things is quite demanding.
Well, trust me, I know. I do all my own posts myself, and I do everything myself. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, legendary Nick Van Kukaj. Has been a pleasure, sir. And everybody, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow, subscribe, and share it with your fellow trance lovers. And also, until next time, this is 1Trance Podcast, where trance meets you.
Thank you for watching and listening to the 1Trance Podcast. Do you have any questions you would like to have answered? Let us know. Take care, and see you next time. 1Trance, where trance meets you.